A very simple yet extremely easy technique, especially in software like Lumion, where you can use some very small tools to create this technique and make your animation completely different. Let's have an initial demonstration of this technique. Look, in this animation, my subject and focus is exactly this shrub. But if you pay attention, the entire surrounding environment is opening up in a certain way, right? It's as if all the trees are actually moving away from this image. Look, this technique is called the Dolly Zoom technique. It's a technique where you basically have both the dolly process and the zoom process happening at the same time. Let's first get familiar with the dolly and zoom processes with these two interesting topics. Look, what exactly is dolly? It's the movement of the viewer, right? In several different ways. Around the subject, or for example, around or towards the subject. So you can either follow a subject, so you can have horizontal movements, or you can move forward or backward very easily, and at the same time with dolly you can also circle around the subject. You've seen this movement and this type of motion very easily in Lumion itself. I'll show you this beautifully in Lumion right now. You can precisely keyframe and start moving your camera along those frames. Now we've reached the definition of zoom. Zoom is basically magnification instead of movement. So if you pay attention, in this image, instead of moving forward to show this lovely girl, we're zooming in exactly on this girl and the image is getting larger. The surrounding area doesn't change here anymore. There's no movement at all. The subject in the frame is getting bigger and bigger. The subject we're focusing on is getting larger, and the background is gradually being ignored. You can see more and more that the background is disappearing. Now, aside from the depth of field or the shallow focus that's being created, we're actually seeing less of the background and making our subject stand out within it. You can focus all your attention in zoom on your target, and that's very important. It's exactly about zooming in on this image from a distance and the background we're seeing, and then gradually it starts to get closer. You can see that the background keeps getting closer and closer, and the background becomes more and more blurred. Instead of discussing the blur, the background now serves as a kind of information delivery, and compared to the previous background, you notice that this becomes less and less. As you can see in this image, during this zooming process at different stages, it starts zooming from here and you can see it happening. It zooms in exactly to this box that you see here, or in this way you can observe it. Now, the goal is to focus exactly on the face of this doll. So now we get to the Dolly Zoom. What is a Dolly Zoom? It's a combination of dolly and zoom. Basically, you move the camera forward or backward, and at the same time you do the opposite with the zoom. In other words, as you move forward, you zoom out. So this is the zoom we're talking about. In Lumion, it's done with the focal length. If you're familiar, it means we're adjusting the camera's focal length. So basically, I move the camera forward, and at the same time, what happens? The focal length keeps getting shorter and shorter. As you can see in this image, I'm moving the camera forward, and the focal length becomes shorter. The image gets wider and more open, and more of the background is displayed. You see, it's that easy to perform the dolly process, and you can do it in reverse as well. The camera moves back and the focus. Moving forward, you see the zoom in, zoom out, dolly in, dolly out types of movement. And well, when the focal length increases, you can see these vertical lines, guys. How much distance is there here? Here, the distances might get closer and closer. The difference between a high focal length and a low focal length, which I've repeated many times, try to set these shots with the appropriate focal length. You see, the camera moves back with a higher focal length and the camera moves forward with a lower focal length. So just like that, you can do this easily. Alright, now let's move on to a model example of a dolly zoom, and we'll go through the dolly zoom together. So, the combined dolly zoom effect is a hybrid technique. First, it starts with the dolly movement, which is this. Moving forward or backward from the viewer's perspective. Exactly like in this film, the camera moves along with the film and with the subject, where we're creating a keyframe right there. If I want to move forward, for example, I go forward and set a keyframe. And if you want to do the opposite, or if you change your mind and want to reverse it, you can either apply the reverse or just start over from the beginning. And here you press the keyframe, and if you pay close attention, the playhead you set goes exactly back toward the beginning. Okay, another tip is to definitely use easy ease as well. Make sure to convert it to linear so that your movements start smoothly and uniformly, gradually increasing from less to more. Alright, I apply the effect, set the scale, and now guys, I'm going to adjust my focal point. If you want to have a focal point that you've set yourself exactly, First activate it, then go to edit clip. Here hold down shift and set it to 47.01. The thousandth decimal isn't that important. I come here and now I know exactly that it's 47.01. With the focal point I set precisely, it's now clear. Alright, do you see the camera moving? Now if I just want to have the empty luma, guys, these are really important points in this work. I've seen this happen to a lot of people. Alright, I'll delete this keyframe right here so it stays at this level. The beginning and end here don't really matter if you pay attention. If I hit play, it plays smoothly, right? Now here it's enough for me to set different keyframes for the focal point, meaning I set a keyframe here. Alright, in this state, and then I say, for example, move forward, then I set the next keyframe and say now zoom in. Alright guys, here the viewer is no longer following along, the viewer is watching from the outside and is seeing exactly what's happening. A strong zoom happens very easily forward, and we adjust it like this. So let's play it. It very smoothly starts to zoom in, and just like that it zooms in easily. It's you who controls this here, guys. When zooming in, pay attention to a rectangle. And also when working with a high focal length, notice that these vertical lines and in general, the image shows less of the distance between objects. They stay in their place, but the distances are shorter. Now let me give you an example. If I move back, do you see how much distance there is between these columns? Now if I bring it closer, do you see how much distance there is between these columns? Can you see it? Does this distance appear less or more? Okay? If I move it a bit further back, it will look like this. Exactly, the distance between the columns has also become less, and you can see it clearly. Our subject, which is this lovely lantern, has become our focus. And alongside it, the surrounding environment is gradually becoming blurred, right? Now this Dolly Zoom effect, okay, I'll delete it. Alright, I'm saying it doesn't matter whether you move forward or backward, guys. For example, moving forward up to here is fine. Okay, I've created the movement in this direction as it's moving forward. What happens? So we need to focus and make the subject stand out differently, and also make the way you zoom in on it different. So for example, I say this exactly. Now you need to move from less to more. That's exactly it. Okay, what I need to do next here is this. First, I pick up the camera handle. I can do the same thing here. I'm saying this moves forward here, and as it moves forward and reaches the front, now here its focus decreases a bit. It's quite close to the exact image I had envisioned here, and you can clearly see the smooth movement once again. Do you truly see how beautifully it's all happening? Let me carefully put this linear keyframe precisely back in its original place, and now I will play it for you once more. It's as if the runner stops in place here, and here it has a pillar. Everything became separated, and just like that it's easy. Now can you do this with the camera handles as well? You just need to think about it here. Did you notice what the value was? It's 21.092. Alright, I'll set the camera to 100 here. The first frame I have is 47.01, so I set a frame there. Even if, like me right now, you forget, just click on disable FK, it comes here and you can check again, 21.92, and then I come back here and set the number on the key again. For the next frame, I create a keyframe and set it to 21.92, 21.92. Guys, pay attention, by double clicking on this section, it turns red here. Now we can decrease this, even set it to 0, or I can use 21.92 again. Now if I play it here, guys, what happens? Well, here I need to activate linear, okay, and then I hit play. Here, it's as if there's absolutely no camera movement, and it's exactly like the world around us is opening up. Seriously, what a technique. It's such a good technique, such a lovely one, and it can really help us, right? No, because just I showed that over there in a striped way. In content-based situations, do this and add depth. Integrate this into your creative workflow and generate a truly distinct and captivating kind of excitement, and then perform a dynamic reverse dolly zoom exploring a wide array of diverse movement modes, or alternatively execute the classic and equally impactful same dolly and zoom technique, or even delve into other imaginative cinematic approaches, allowing for boundless creative expression and storytelling possibilities. The focal change that I will now show you the final rendered output, well, as you can clearly see exactly. Why does it look nice? Is it good? Does it show you? What a good technique. How much can we do? You help out and it brings a really great result. Say the dolly movement and at the same time zooming in, which can really help us. Guys, we can use this as a supplement for animating in this way.